my name is Holly, and in today's video I am going to be showing you all of the books that I read in April. So I have been marathoning Throne of Glass for the last 2 months now. I know, I'm crazy. And this month was literally all about finishing the books that are currently out. The final book literally comes out in October, and I knew that I had to get on this immediately, and for some reason last month I was just finally feeling in the mood to start it, and I didn't want to risk that chance of maybe over the summer, which is kind of where I planned on starting it. What if I didn't feel like starting it? So I had to take the opportunity immediately, and here we are. I am now doing my Throne of Glass wrap up basically. So this wrap up should be a little bit shorter because I have to be as vague as possible, since literally every book that I'm about to show you is in the middle of a series, so no spoilers here, don't worry, you're safe. But let's just go ahead and begin. So the first book I finished was Queen of Shadows, which is book 4 in the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. I totally went into this book thinking that it was going to be amazing and it was going to be full of action-packed scenes with all kinds of plot twists and sadness, but I was lied to. This one for me personally was so painfully slow. I think it was far too long. I felt like there were a lot of unnecessary filler that could have been cut out to help push the plot along a little faster. It honestly didn't get exciting or even catch my interest until about a third of the way through the book. So for example, like all of this right here, boring, and then like right here was awesome. The struggles, man, the struggles. The main problem for me here was that there was a lot of telling and no showing. We are constantly being told how brave Aelin is and how she is fire and amazeballs, but to be honest, the characters were mostly just squatting in an apartment the entire time. Also, we got a ton of page time for Manon, one of my favorite characters, who is literally on the line of good and evil. She's definitely an anti-hero and kind of villainous actually. I just love her character arc, and also her character development since she's been introduced to the series has been profound. I can't really talk too much about the other elements that I really loved in this book because spoilers, but I will say that I loved the situation that Dorian was in. Yikes, that poor boy. Oh, and freaking Kale and Manon doing all of the work and then Aelin getting all the credit. The nerve, Sarah J. Maas. Aelin telling Dorian, "I'll come back for you." To hell you did not. Kale demanded. So I ended up giving this one 3 out of 5 stars. So I think after reading Queen of Shadows, I started realizing that I was hitting a Throne of Glass wall. I mean, I've been in this world for 2 months straight, so I decided to throw in a graphic novel to kind of cleanse my palate, and that was Monstrous Volume 2 by Marjorie Liu, and I cannot believe it took me this long to finally pick this one up. All I have to say is Marjorie Liu is for sure a cat lover. I truly believe that this book was written for cats. Cats and big cats. Like, without a doubt. Cats. But don't worry, cats are not the only animal that literally abolishes this graphic novel. There are all kinds of forms of animals in this series. There's cats, there's foxes, there's tigers, there's shark people, there's humans, there's half humans. It's so interesting. If you don't know what the series is about, it follows our main character Maka Halfwolf, who is basically searching for her mother, and she's traveling with Kippa, who is this little girl who is like half fox, who you would just instantly fall in love with. She is so adorable. But Maka's main goal is to seek information on how to expunge this monster that's literally eating her alive, like limb from limb. Now the plot in this has definitely gotten way complicated, which I struggled with just a little bit. I definitely had to stay on certain pages a little bit longer and reread what was happening just to try and get my brain to catch up. There's a lot of black magic forkery happening within the story, especially at the end, because we end up on this really weird island, and yeah, things get pretty strange. The artwork in this is absolutely beautiful. There's really no other way to put it. I absolutely love the details that the artist puts into the landscape and even the buildings, and also like the little people in the background. There's a lot of scenes that you just have to look for, and they're so detailed and interesting to look at. And just this world is so well made. It's awesome. I ended up giving this one 4 out of 5 stars, and I need a third volume, like, please. Okay, so after that, I was finally ready to delve back into the Throne of Glass world, so I picked up Empire of Storms, which is the 5th book in the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. Do I really have to say that every time? So I need action within my fantasy. It's just one of my needs. It's like my thirst that needs quenched, and finally, this book had that. There was seriously something major happening like every 30 or so pages, and things were finally evolving. Oh yeah, also there's a lot of biting within all of the intimate scenes. Like a lot of biting, like scarring each other, and taking chunks of skin. Is this something I should be doing with Darren? Let me ask him.
Am I supposed to be biting you during sexy times?
It's a goin'. He's typing back. Man, he's typing something long. Okay, he said, ouch, no, why, haha. Just asking. I'll be honest, I kind of don't really mind the adult content that Sarah J. Maas seems to add randomly within her books, but wow, there was so much shipping and pairing going on in this, and it was like watching some type of dating commercial happening. Every character was getting it on. Like, look at the steam coming out of this book. It's steamy as hell. I really enjoyed how finally the rest of the continent came into play and how Aelin was collecting favors. That's something that I've been dying to see for a really long time. We have this huge map in the beginning, and like we finally get to see other cities and other kingdoms. Yes. Several characters from the Assassin's Blade, the prequel novel, were reintroduced in this book, which I've missed oh so much. Let's face it, my enjoyment for this series really boils down to Dorian, Manon, and Kale. I've never liked Rowan. Aelin's kind of fallen off the wagon for me. It probably wouldn't be that way if Aelin was in a relationship with someone else, let's be real. This was a fantastic setup for the finale. All of our plot lines are kind of converging together in a way where I will not survive the final book probably. At least not without copious amounts of chocolate. But I ended up giving this one 4 out of 5 stars. So the final book that I picked up, and you guys probably already know, it's Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas. This is not really like the next book in the series, well kind of, but it's a side book that completely follows our character Kale. I was so excited to delve into this book because I love Kale. A lot of people seem to really hate him, but I love the guy. He gets a ton of crap. First off, the world building in this was fantastic. I've said it once, I'll say it again, Sarah J. Maas has a way of setting up a world that is so interesting. She knows her world, and she knows when to give little snippets of information that will probably come back in later books, and she knows when and how to unload a reveal on you, that's for sure. I did feel like in the beginning that it was extremely info dumpy, and that had me really worried because we are being introduced to a whole new continent, and that is the southern continent. We have not been or seen to this continent yet, so there was a lot of explanations about its culture and its society. Now, Kale in this book was brilliant, and he has a lot of character development in this story. There's a lot of emotional healing that he's going through. It was so interesting to read about and kind of cathartic to me. We were introduced to plenty of new characters, and I also agree with everyone. I highly recommend picking this book up if you don't plan on to, because I definitely think you should before going into the finale. There's a lot of stuff that happens in this book that I know for sure it's going to pop up in the finale. But I ended up giving this one 4 out of 5 stars. So those were all the books that I finished in April, and I am finally caught up on Throne of Glass. So now I feel like I'm on the same level as everybody else, and it feels great. So don't forget to follow me on my social media accounts. I am on Instagram at HollyHeartsBooks, and also on Twitter I'm at HollyNiece. And also don't forget to subscribe. I post videos every single week. And until we meet again, happy reading.